Hi folks, we're here talking about the most important equipment that you can get for your camera to make you a successful photographer. So today's is a big one because it's normally the most expensive add-on to your camera. Give me a second, let me get one. Could you do us a favor? Could you please just take a moment and give us a thumbs up there? And maybe even, I'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe, okay? Could you do that? Okay, now we're gonna get back to this content. Now, again, this is an add-on. Now people say, well, what about the camera body itself? No, those are expensive. But normally whenever you're starting out as a photographer, you will get a kit lens. So use that. Now, they're usually a basic lens. Sometimes it's like a 75 to 200 or a 50 millimeter. And please use that as much as you can. Develop your composition with those kit lenses. Don't feel any shame in the game for the kit lenses, because photography can be an expensive hobby in itself. And this can be one of the most expensive things that you add onto your camera. This is simply a nifty 50. I'll turn it upside right. And it's a nifty 50. Again, this is a very standard lens. Every photographer should have one because it is something that even you could challenge yourself. You can just use this lens to develop your photography by itself. So this is a very basic lens, but it's a good one to have. It's also considered a prime lens, and we'll discuss that a little bit later. Now this is the lens I typically use on the regular. It is a 17 to 40 millimeter Canon lens. It's a wide angle, and I use it because in real estate photography you want to have as broad a shot of the room as possible and be able to do it in such a way that it doesn't distort the picture and make it look kind of wonky, like you're looking through one of those bubble cameras there. Again, you have to be careful. I'm not going to tell you which lens is the best one to get or anything, but you need to learn how to identify what's good for you. First of all, develop your style of photography. If you were a wildlife photographer, these two lenses probably are not your go-to. You'll want a zoom lens, 200, 300, something like that, so that you can bring something very far away close to yourself. So that is the first consideration. The second consideration, you want to get good glass. That's another term. When you hear photographers talk about glass, or when you want to be cool, say, hey, I got some cool new glass. And there are all kinds of makers, as you know, with any kind of thing, that there's all kinds of makers. And for Canon, one of the best makers of lenses is Canon itself. For Sony, it's Sony. For Nikon, and I'm not saying it the other way, Nikon is a good maker of their own. But if you want to try a third party, now sometimes the third party is not cheaper, it's not generic drugs here. It is just expensive, sometimes even more, because they make a specific type of lens. Sigma, Takana, I don't have one, so I don't know. I've had a Tamron before, so those are some third party manufacturers. Just the thing I can tell you about Canon is that one of the things you might see a Canon shooter do is they'll do this, and they'll hold and you'll notice that this red line here. Now, even among Canon lenses, this is going to be an indicator of a higher quality lens because it is the L series. L series, I think some people refer to it as the luxury series, but it's something that if you feel like you need to improve your photography and you like the type of lens, you can upgrade to an L series lens for Canon. I don't know about the other brands of camera. You know, they're all good in their own right, and I'm not here to tell you which one is the right kind of camera, but something to look for in your lenses. Again, as far as your aperture, that's another aspect of the lens. That will be where your aperture will be dictated, is in your lens. If you're wanting to get a certain depth of field, that's something else you look for in your lens. So thank you so much for spending the time with us. We've discussed the three most important aspects or pieces of equipment for photography for you. And if you missed this one, you can go back and watch the other two about flashes and tripods.